we shall begin with a Git, and there will be no Parichaya because we already know Diveshji. Okay. We also request everyone to switch off their videos and mute their mics. Okay. The Ekal Git will be taken by Shri Piyushji. Piyushji.
पूज्य माँ की अर्चना का एक छोटा उपकरण हूँ। पूज्य माँ की अर्चना का एक छोटा उपकरण हूँ। उच्च है वह शिखर देखो, मैं नहीं वह स्थान लूंगा। और चित्रित भित्ति का है, मैं नहीं शोभा बनूंगा। पूज्य है यह मात्र मंदिर, नींव का मैं एक कण हूँ। पूज्य माँ की अर्चना का एक छोटा उपकरण हूँ। मुकुट माँ का जगमगाता, मैं नहीं सोना बनूंगा। जगमगाते रत्न देखो, मैं नहीं हीरा बनूंगा। पूज्य माँ की चरण रज का एक छोटा धूलिकण हूँ। पूज्य माँ की अर्चना का एक छोटा उपकरण हूँ। आरती भी हो रही है, गीत बन कर क्या करूँगा। पुष्पमाला चढ़ रही है, फूल बन कर क्या करूँगा। मालिका का एक तंतु, गीत का मैं एक स्वर हूँ। पूज्य माँ की अर्चना का एक छोटा उपकरण हूँ। एक छोटा उपकरण हूँ। एक छोटा उपकरण हूँ।
नमस्ते सभी को। केन्या के संघ चालक मान्य श्री परेश जी शाह, केन्या के कार्यवाहिका श्रीमती जानकी जी अगस्त्य राजू, केन्या के सहकार्यवाह श्री कमल जी शर्मा ने विश्व विभाग के सहसंयोजक श्री रामजी वैद्य, अधिकारीगण, कार्यकर्ता गण, सेविका भगिनी एवं प्रिय स्वयंसेवक बंधु, ये 11th सेशन है अपने सीरीज ऑफ टॉक्स का कार्यकर्ता बुक के ऊपर। और लास्ट वीक हमने जहां एंड किया था वहीं से कंटिन्यू करेंगे। लास्ट वीक हमने एंड किया था प्रेम शब्द पर। जब ये हम सोच रहे थे तो हमें यह शब्द पर ऑफ कोर्स लव नजर आता है, मगर हमारे लिए और जो मेरी आयु के लोग हैं उनके लिए मैंने प्यार किया जो फिल्म थी उसमें जो हीरो थे उनका नाम प्रेम था, और बहुत सारी फिल्म में उनका नाम प्रेम ही था, और वो भी एक प्रेम कथा थी। तो बहुत अब जो यंगस्टर्स रहते हैं उनके लिए प्रेम या लव क्या होता है? आजकल के नौजवान जो है वो बहुत वेट करते हैं वैलेंटाइंस डे के लिए। शायद वही मानते हैं कि वो दिन है जो प्रेम को दिखा सके। टुडे द इन्फ्लुएंस of all such things as love from the film industry or from events is so much that a lot of our children and even the youngsters celebrate such days like Valentine's Day in too much pomp and fare. If you see in India and also in Kenya, a lot of people wear red, a lot of roses are given as if that is the only day to show love. And in this digital age, there are a lot of letters that join together and combine to mean something, like BFF, best friends forever. But how much love is also there in friends? When we were 10 years old, we had A as our best friend. When we were 15, our best friend changed. When we were 20, it changed again. When we went to university, we had different best friends. So, what do we imagine as prem or as love? For many of us, love signifies the bond between a husband and a wife. A lot of us in Kenya and everywhere in the world, I'm sure, have showered love to their wives in the first few years in a lot of different forms. Maybe by giving roses, gifts, but then with period of time, this gesture of showing love dwindles down. It goes down. So has love reduced? I know in the beginning of years, a lot of my friends and myself as well used to give roses to our wives whenever there is an anniversary, whenever there is a birthday. But some of us are economical and are environmental friendly and think of everlasting things and have thus given a plastic rose that doesn't die. It stays forever. Now, roses in Mombasa are expensive these days. A plastic rose does the job throughout for life. On a serious note, if we think of love, what comes to mind as unconditional love? Is it friends' love? Is it the love of a boyfriend and a girlfriend? Is it the love of a husband and a wife? I think love that is unconditional is mother's love. The love a mother has never goes down and never changes. And thus, for Karyakartas like us who want to work in the Samaj, the mother's love is how we should love everyone. Once Dattopant, as he writes in his book about his own personal examples, he won some election being the secretary, and he won the election of the union. Maybe it was the Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh union. And he came to Guruji and was very excited and feeling happy and told Guruji, I have won the elections and now I am the secretary or the general secretary. And Guruji smiles at him and asks him all about the election. And Dattopant, pleased with himself, carries on talking about it. He says, I got 30,000 votes, all from the non-metal sector of workers, and this and that. And after a while, Guruji asks him, can you tell me that these people who voted for you, these 30,000, do they consider you like a mother? Or has your relationship with them, or is your relationship with them just like how a mother's love is? And Dattopant truthfully says, no. In fact, I don't know most of them, and maybe they also don't know me that much. And Guruji reminds him that you have won the elections, you have become the secretary here, but in God's eyes, you have not won the elections. In a shaka, after the pratna and the vikir, Dr. Ji was standing with Swayamsevaks and inquiring about how all the Swayamsevaks were. And he came to find out one Swayamsevak was ill. He decided to go and visit him. Now from where he was, to go and meet the other Swayamsevak who was ill was a few kilometers away, and Dr. Ji started walking. As he comes to the area or the basti where the Swayamsevak stays, he meets one of his friends. And the friend asks, Dr. Ji, you are here. So nice to see you. What are you doing in our basti? And Dr. Ji says, oh, I've just come to meet this Swayamsevak who is ill. And the friend is shocked and says, you've come so far. You walked all the way just to meet a young boy. How come? And Dr. Ji says, when we are relatives, or when we take one as our own, the hearts know nothing about distance. The heart yearns to meet one's relative or one's own. Love wins hearts. We have heard so many times the word Atmiyata. As Karyakartas who are leaders, the people around us look at us as a role model. Isn't it true that a child looks at his parents as role models? Similarly, leaders are looked as role models. And if you try to become the role model, one of the best ways is to love all unconditionally, just like how a mother will love. A very good example is the mango tree. Even when hit with sticks, it gives fruit. Let us try and become like the mango tree. We have to be good role models. But there are some times we have seen Karyakartas or people who work in organizations who do everything themselves, what we know as one-man army. Imagine if we have a Guru Dakshina Utsav and the Karyava of a Shaka gives Suchna to 40 Swamsevaks. He arranges all the decorations. He makes sure the plates and the flowers are there. He cleans the ground and arranges the Dwaj. He takes the Shaka, does the Sharirik, says the Bauddhik, does everything himself. Is that good really? We have heard many people say that the youngsters are good for nothing. They don't do anything. Here I am working so hard and doing everything, but no one is coming to help. When such a sthiti or such a position happens, why is it so? As Karyakartas, we should learn to mix with all. We cannot be what is known as allergic to anyone. Remember, you should be able to mix with everyone, and everyone should be able to come to you. Let us not be allergic to anyone, and let no one have my allergy. If you want to go and talk to footballers, like our boys of today, you have to know all the news about football, otherwise you can't mix with them. It is said one has to go to the pawn shop to know about the news of the society. The person who mixes with all is one who is loved by all. Whom do children complain to? In your house or in any typical house, we have seen children go and talk to their mother, their grandmother, their grandfather, maybe sometimes to the father. If you are the father and your children don't come to complain to you, that means there is something wrong. Love everyone and mix with everyone. Let us be down to earth. Let us not be a leader who is above. One who mixes with all is a great leader. Have you seen animals hunt? Especially those of the dog family. For example, the wolf. They hunt in the whole pack together. Mind you, they have a leader. It is known as Alpha. They have one who stands in front. There is one who is behind. There are three in a line. And they all hunt coordinately together. And as how the leader organizes it, they go and hunt. But one who sees from outside will not know who the leader is, will see all as equal. Let us learn from the wolf to be equal with all and stand with all. It is important to try and become the role model, and it is important to mix with all. But it is also important to walk with all. Imagine if you are told to teach a child how to walk. You cannot give instructions. You cannot just stand by him. You have to hold the finger and walk together with the child. Can a swimming teacher teach swimming from outside without getting into the pool? A swimming teacher has to dive in, has to swim with the children. As a leader, Make sure you're not too far ahead from everyone else. We have seen so many organizations, especially the religious organizations, where a leader is so highly intellectual or so much spiritual that all his followers do is praise him and pray to him. And in a few years' time, he will find a place in their temple as God. A leader should not be too far ahead from his followers or from his partners. He should only be just 2 steps ahead, not a lot. Walk with the team. When Dr. G died and his death procession was going on, they were taking him to the Shamshan Bhumi. And in the Shamshan Yatra, there were thousands and thousands of people. One of Dr. G's friend was very much surprised and shocked. I did not know that Keshav is so great. I just know him as a good friend of mine. But him being such a great leader, and there are so many people here, it is only today I realize how much great he was. Dr. G always stayed with everyone, even at his home. At Betaks, they used to have pillow fights. With children, he used to be like children. Let us be like how a shadow is. A shadow always stays with the owner, stays with the team, doesn't move ahead, but maybe we feel the shadow is a bit ahead of us. Whilst we walk with everyone, we should also be mindful of everyone. At very many students' unions, reunions that happen now, a lot of people argue that who was the favorite student. It is there everywhere. A teacher has 1 or 2 children or students whom they consider the favorite. As Karyakartas, we have to make sure that we do not have this. Everyone should be our favorite student. Let not it be seen as we favor 1 or 2. Let us be mindful of all. Do you know children of today, or for that matter everyone, thinks about you before they talk to you? The child will think about what the teacher will say if I ask him or if I say anything to him. As leaders, we should be aware that the people we interact with do look at us and gauge us. It is like as if they are judging us what the teacher thinks of me. We have seen we have a Varshik Shibir every December, and in the camp there are all different kinds of people and age groups. But we see how the Sharirik, the Bauddhik, all the sessions go, and everything is catered for all different groups. We have to cater for everyone, and that is very much important whenever planning anything. In Mahadev's wedding procession, one can see that at that particular moment or at any particular moment, Mahadev gave attention to everyone. For example, he was nodding his head to Brahma. He was discussing something with Vishnu. At the same time, he was chit-chatting with his gun. Give attention to all. We have seen Krishna's Leela, where he dances with gopis. And many of us also have seen how the picture is painted of this particular scene. There are so many Krishnas, each dancing with the gopi. Each gopi feels that Krishna is me and I am favorite of Krishna. But Krishna is everywhere. Let us be like that. Whilst we are mindful and thoughtful of everyone, it intunes in us a quality known as good listener. But when you are a good listener, let it not be just as sympathy. Let the other person not feel that you are sympathetic. Let him realize and know that you are appreciating him. You are at equal levels. Learn to see how the other person is feeling. Try to be in their shoes. And that will really let you understand what the other person is speaking. Not sympathy, but empathy. Whilst being good-hearted is very important, more so than that, our speech counts way important than our heart. We can't see the heart, but everyone can hear us. Let our speech be sweet so that the listeners whom we address feel one with us. A very good example, and probably the best for us all, is our husband or a son balances in an argument between the sas and the bahu, or the mother and his wife. He has to listen to his mother, he has to listen to his wife. He has to address nicely, sweetly the mother, and nicely and sweetly to the wife. It is known as the balancing act of life, and many of us are doing it always. Whilst we listen and speak, it is very important that we don't compromise on principles. Whatever we do, one should never compromise on principles. A Karyakarta came to meet Guruji and gave him a wedding card saying that my daughter is getting married and it will be really good if you and the Swayamsevaks at the Karyakarta, at the Karyalaya, attend the wedding. And Guruji said, for sure we'll come. But I will just request one thing, that please make sure the groom at the time of the fera is wearing dhoti. Now imagine Guruji is saying this to the father of the bride. And the father has to tell the groom or his damat. It's quite a tricky situation, but Guruji said it. So come the wedding day, and the Swayamsevaks at the Karyalaya are very happy. You know how food is at Karyalayas, and in those times, and when you go to a wedding, the kind of food we get, we all look up to the wedding food always, isn't it? So the Swayamsevaks were very happy. They're going to get good food. They all got ready. And with Guruji, they started going to the wedding. As they approach the wedding hall, It is nearly the time of the Fera, and Guruji sees from far that the groom has not worn dhoti. So he stops and stands there. I can just imagine the picture, how it would have been. And he looks, and the Fera starts, and he's not wearing dhoti. Guruji turns around and tells all the swamsevaks, let's go back. There goes food, all the swamsevaks say. He turned back, did not attend the wedding. When later on asked, why did he do this? And Guruji said, it is a Hindu wedding. The Hindu clothes should be there. Principles should not be compromised. And for the Samaj, we have to teach the Samaj a few things. And for that, we have to be strong and stable. We have seen many a times that a mother scolds a child if they leave food or they waste food. Also in a few houses, the child will not get food. In one home, a child was told not to come for dinner because at lunch he had left some food. The grandmother, the grandfather all pleaded, but the mother was strong. She said no means no. No food for the child today. Of course, the mother is hurt that her child is not eating, but she has to take these steps to teach the child a lesson. When Bhishma lies on the throne of arrows, Krishna comes and meets him. And they have a conversation where Bhishma asks, what is my fault, O Krishna? Please tell me all. What have I done wrong? And Krishna says, do you remember the Draupadi Vastraharan incident? When Draupadi's sari was pulled by Dushasan, at that moment you are completely quiet. If you wanted, you could have stopped. If you wanted, you could have raised your bow and arrow and cut Dushasan. But you didn't do that. Where in history have you seen, O Bhishma, that a lady is brought in the Raj Bhavan and such treatment is given to her? It is because you are mourn, you are quiet. You had to pay this price. And Bhishma agrees. Also, we have had such incidences in Kenya as well, like the Modi event. There is a lot of hype on when the Modi event happened in Kenya. And Swamsevaks, of course, were very much excited. In one such baithak, a lot of maybe 15-20 key Swamsevaks and Karyakartas in Nairobi met and were discussing about the event. And a suggestion came that we should all go to the Modi event wearing Ganesh. And everyone was very excited and feeling, yes, that will really portray us, will give us good coverage. Everyone will know who Swamsevaks are. But one young Karyakarta stood up and said, no, this is not right. We cannot go to any event wearing Ganesh. Because the event is for everyone. We do not want to stand out because we are the Hindu Samaj. We are not a separate entity of the Hindu Samaj. Thus, we should not stand out. quite a few elder Karyakartas were furious at him. And a lot of heated debate went on, with a few saying we should not wear the Ganesh, and many saying we should wear. Later on, it was agreed that we should not wear the Ganesh. The young Karyakarta stood up and said this because principles cannot be compromised. Very many years ago, the Hindu Council organized sports competition, and as Sangh, we also took part. Kho, Kabaddi, and so many other sports. But then in one of the Baithaks, it was decided and agreed that as Sangh, we should not take part in such competitions. Why? Because it will create a kind of strange nature or strange competition we are with. Because, for example, in our team, we have a Swayamsevak from the Patel community, a Swayamsevak from the Visawashal, a Swayamsevak from the Kutchi, and they are all part of the Sangh team. And we play against the Patel community, the Visawashal, or the Kutchi community. And how would it look? To look like we are playing against ourselves. And thus in that Baithak, it was decided that at all such competitions, we will not take part, but we will tell all our Swayamsevaks to go into their respective Samaj, activate the Samaj team and play through that, because Sangh is the Samaj. There is a certain different tale to what we all know about the competition between Ganesh and his brother Kartikeya when they had to go around 3 times the universe. It goes like this. Mahadev, Vishnu, Brahma called everyone and said, called the Devas, Ganesh, Kartikeya and everyone and said, we want to find out who will be first amongst you all. And whoever will be first will be known as Pratham Pujniya. And in all worship, he will be worshipped first. But how can we know that? So very many different suggestions came, and one came that let us have a race to go around the universe 3 times. And everyone said, yes, let us have a race. So Surya Dev, Indra Dev, all the Devas got ready. On the day of the race, they all stood in a line and started the race. Ganesh is there sitting on Mushak and looking and thinking. Surya Dev has gone to the race. Who will give light to earth? Indra Dev has gone to the race. Who will give rain to the earth? And he doesn't go to the race. He bows down to Mahadev and with Mahadev's third eye creates a sun to light the earth. He takes the moon from Mahadev's head and creates moonlight at night. He takes the Ganga from Mahadev and makes rain on earth. He does all the functions of everyone who has gone to the race. And after doing all the functions, he said, of course, we cannot go to the race because we have so much work to do here whilst everyone else is away. So he tells Mushak, and you are so small. It will be very wrong for me to sit on you for so long. So let us just go around our world, that is Mata Parvati and Mahadev. And he bows down and goes 3 times around it. After everyone comes back, Mahadev says, you all went to the race, but compromised on your duties. The duty of sun is to rise every day and set. The duty of rain is to fall on earth, and so forth. And as Ganesh did this, he is considered one who is now Pratham Pujni. Rukmani stops Krishna and says, why are you going to Hastinapur now? Stay with me at the palace. And Krishna says, oh Rukmani, come with me. There is so much work at Hastinapur. I cannot stay in the palace. And Rukmani says, no, no, no. In my last life as Sita, I had so much trouble. All my life went in the jungle. Sometimes with you, sometimes without you. This time, I want to rest. I want all the pleasures of the palace, so I shall stay in the palace. And Krishna smiles and says, you know, the world remembers those who worked hard and maybe suffered in their life. But those who rested in their homes or rested in their palaces, lived luxurious lives, are not remembered. And Rukmani says, no, 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 you go, I shall be here. Thus even today, when we say Sita Ram and we say Radhe Krishna, not Rukmani Krishna. One who does sang work or any kind of social work, interacts with people, does sampark. And in these discussions, of course, there are going to be points where we do not agree on, and arguments can occur. But remember, arguments are not for us. Dadarao Parmarth, one of the first pracharaks, used to say, he's never seen Dr. Ji argue. In fact, in the early days, a lot of people came to meet Dr. Ji. One such philosopher came to Dr. Ji and said, you're doing good work, but do you know who are Hindus? How can you describe Hindus? And he wanted to carry on, but Dr. Ji cut him short and said, whomever you think are Hindus, we consider them as Hindus, and we are out to organize them. And that was it. Dr. Ji never argued. It is said you can't win an argument. In an argument, there are all losers. One who might feel a bit happy, one who might feel a bit sad. But relationships are broken. Let us become like the coconut tree. In the time of storm, when the wind brings an argument, it bends down. It lets the storm pass. It doesn't break. And after the storm has passed, it rises again. The three main aspects of our work or any kind of work is to plan, is to decide, and to act. The most important one is the decision making. For us in Sangh, we have Baithaks, and Baithaks is where the decision making is done. It is, if you can imagine, holding something in your hand, say some kind of food. That is your idea. You keep it, go to the Baithak and place it on the table. So now you don't have it. You have placed the idea at the Baithak. And whatever is decided in the Baithak, You come out and take it, and that is all of our idea. So you go with an idea, you discuss and come out with our idea. That is a simple process of Bauddhik. But a lot of differences of opinions can happen. And that is why it is very paramount us to understand, very important, that to stay detached from my idea and accept our idea. At one of the Bauddhiks, a very important Bauddhik was happening. Guruji, Dr. Ji, Appaji Joshi, and all key Karyakartas were sitting, maybe in 1939 or somewhere there. Guruji explained at length his idea or his thoughts. There's a lot of philosophy behind it. But many people thought the idea was not good, or the idea was not ripe for such a time, and it was not accepted. At that particular moment, when the idea was not accepted, Guruji was smiling, and Dr. Ji elbowed Appaji and said, look at Madhav's face. He is smiling as he was before, as he was when he was explaining his idea, and even if it is rejected, he is smiling the same way now. There is no iota of attachment to his own thoughts, and that is a mark of a true leader. Most of our problems, or anywhere in the world, or most of the differences that occur between ourselves are because we are attached to our idea, to my idea. If we get detached from it, it will be the best. Though we all think on one line or in one thought process, or we act together, we can still have a lot of differences of opinions. At the famous game of dice in Mahabharata, when Draupadi was lost, at that moment, Yudhishthir was calm, peaceful, though internally he was feeling very hurt. But one who has not left his dharma, one who knows what he is doing is right, was very calm. But Bhim was not like that. Bhim was very angry. Vikodar Bhim, one who is very angry. He straight away told Sahadev, go, bring me charcoal. I would like to burn Yudhishthir's hand. It is this hand that played dice, and we lost Draupadi. Though they had differences of opinion, they did not have any enmity, or they were not feeling bad towards each other later on. It was only for the spur of the moment. They fought together the battle and won. We may have differences of opinions, but let our minds always be together. Let the differences not be engraved in us. In Sangh, there is no lobbying. There are times when we have seen that before Baithaks, a few people will call each other and tell them, I will say point A, you say point A, and she or he says point A, and make sure it is accepted. No, that is not our way of working. Everyone comes with their idea and the decision is made at the Baitak. And once that decision is made, it is our decision. It is very important for us to take this with clean heart. When Dattopant wrote this book, there was no WhatsApp. Today, a lot of problems occur because of WhatsApp messaging or groups. someone says something and we see a certain person has left a group. We are so sensitive that messages can hurt us. WhatsApp is a tool to pass information very fast or very easily. It is not a tool to decide on something. It may be a tool to put a few thoughts of yours, but it is not one where you discuss at length. Let us learn the etiquettes of social media very well. Let us not put everything down on WhatsApp. It is so much easy to call and talk. Let WhatsApp not ruin our relationships. Sometimes it is difficult for us to understand the difference between Karyakram and Karya, a program and our work. Very many times it occurs that how do you measure the success of any program? Is it the number of people that attended the program? In any temple, there are lakhs and lakhs of people going. Is it the food? In the wedding, it is the best food. Is it the pradarshni? How our swamsaks lead the shararik? The military people do it so much better than us. Is it how we played the games? Athletics do it much better. So what is it? The Karyakram is one aid or tool for our work. It is not our work. It is just a small fragment or part of our work. For us, the most important thing is the Karyakarta, even probably more than the work. Whatever happens, we cannot lose a Karyakarta. A Karyakram can go fail, not a problem. The work is very important but can also go fail as long as our Karyakartas are there. If we lose Karyakartas, our work and Karyakram and everything will get affected. At the stage we are in, men are most important. When I say men, also means women in HSS. Both or humans are more important than anything else. Make sure how we speak, how we say, how we deal with people is extremely important to one who is a leader. Understanding men is probably more than 50% of our work. We need to understand the mindset of people. Let us not only listen to the words, but listen to the emotions that people are saying. Dattopant went to a wedding. It was the wedding of the youngest brother. The second brother got married just a few months ago. The third, the youngest brother, was getting married. And Dattopant meets the two brothers who are standing and says, "Good, this ceremony has gone very well. And also, the bride is looking quite good and good-natured." And the second brother, who is a bit different, says, "You mean to say his wife is better than my wife?" And Dattopant was shocked what to say. It's difficult for pracharaks to understand how we work, isn't it? I mean, this question, many of us face it with pracharaks don't have to face. When our wives ask us, "How do I look?" Now, what do you answer? Do you say the truth? Probably. Do you say sweet words? Probably. But when someone asks, "How do I look?" It is not as simple as that. It is quite philosophical. There's a lot of mind that goes at play, and a lot of emotions are at play. And unfortunately, husbands are very bad at emotions. They do not understand how to answer. So, understand the mindset. Think what the other person wants to hear. People like to listen what they're interested in. You may want to say whatever you want, but they want your opinion on them, and a good one, of course. Once a Raja called the astrologer and asks him, "How long will my family live? I want to know everything about them." And the astrologer says, "In the next 6 months, your second wife shall pass away. And after that, 6, 7 months after that, your third wife will pass away. And after a few months, your mother will pass away. And after a few months, your father will pass away." And so on and so forth. The king said, "Stop! Throw him out. He's totally useless." So the next day, the astrologer also comes and he says, "Today make sure you say the right things, not wrong like last time. How long shall we live?" Now this time, he has been taught how to say. So he says nicely, "Maharaj, you will live very long. For so many years you are going to live. In fact, you will live so long that you will outlive your whole family." And the Raja was very pleased. Make sure we speak what other people want to hear. But when you speak, make sure you really appreciate and you are as honest as possible. The HSS work is of Sangha and Samiti. When it comes to interactions between Sangha and Samiti, make sure you take precautions and take precautions a lot. Make sure what you say, how the other person is going to feel when you say it is very much important. Take all care as possible, and I'm sure our work will progress ahead. For us, the best example is Maryada Purushottam, Bhagwan Ram. In whatever circumstances, he never became angry. Even when after killing Ravan, he was very calm. He was not too excited. He said, "A Raja has died. Let us bury him with all the ceremony." One who is calm, who is gentle, who takes tough times like a man, stands to be a good leader. Let us learn to be Ram in these times. Namaste.
Dhanyavad Divyashi for the Bauddhik.